The Dying Swan. The storm began before dusk, a low growl rolling across the city like a warning. By the time I reached the studio, rain was already striking the windows in diagonal silver lines, and thunder trembled through the floorboards as if the earth itself were breathing beneath my feet. I unlocked the door with the same key I had used for more than 10 years, and the familiar scent of rosin, dust, and old wood rose to greet me like an aging friend. I did not turn on the overhead lights. I wanted the room as it was, shadowed, cavernous, honest. The lightning outside illuminated the mirrors in sudden flashes, revealing my reflection in fragments: a cheekbone, a shoulder, the curve of a spine that had once been praised for its perfect line. Now it belonged to a woman who had danced Swan Lake more times than she could count, and who had just learned that her final season would not be hers after all. They told me gently. They always do. Jessica, we think it's time to give the new girl a chance. A chance. As if I had not given my entire life to this art, as if my bones had not been shaped by pliés, my lungs trained by adagios, my heart broken and rebuilt by every performance where I poured myself out until I felt hollow. I placed my bag down and walked to the center of the studio. The storm outside cracked open the sky, and for a moment the room glowed white. I saw myself clearly. The faint lines around my eyes, the softness that had begun to settle at my waist, the slight hesitation in my left ankle. Time had been whispering to me for years. Tonight, it finally spoke aloud. I took a breath, and then I began. The first notes of The Dying Swan played only in my memory, but they were as vivid as if Yo-Yo Ma himself stood beside me. The cello's lament unfurled inside my chest, and my arms rose with a trembling softness I had never allowed myself before. I was alone, utterly, exquisitely alone, and for the first time I danced not for an audience, not for critics, not for directors, but for the girl I once was. Another flash of lightning. My reflection flickered. My breath caught. I remembered the injuries, the torn ligament, the fractured metatarsal, the nights spent icing my ankle while pretending everything was fine. I remembered the jealousy of younger dancers, the pressure of perfection, the way directors watched me with both admiration and calculation. I remembered the loneliness of being adored. My arms weakened, my knees softened. I let the swan's trembling become my own. Outside, thunder rolled like distant applause. The music in my mind grew more sorrowful, and I felt something inside me begin to loosen, a knot I had carried for years. I had always feared this moment, the fading, the replacement, the quiet erasure of a prima ballerina who had given her youth to a role that demanded everything. But as I danced, I realized something unexpected. I was not fading, I was transforming. My movements grew lighter, almost weightless. The studio around me blurred, the mirrors dissolved into darkness. I felt my body, the one I had disciplined, punished, sculpted, begin to drift away from me like mist. And then, in a moment so gentle it felt like a sigh, I separated from myself. I became a swan, not metaphorically, not symbolically. I felt wings unfurl from my shoulders, white and soft and impossibly real. My feet left the floor without effort. The storm outside parted like curtains, revealing a vast lake suspended in the sky, quiet, moonlit, untouched by time. I flew toward it, each beat of my wings releasing another memory. Applause, pain, triumph, heartbreak, discipline, devotion. They fell away like feathers, drifting behind me until the studio was filled with the remnants of my life. The lake welcomed me with a stillness that felt sacred. I skimmed its surface, my reflection rippling into silver threads. I was no longer Jessica, the prima ballerina. I was simply a creature of grace, free from the demands of perfection, free from the fear of being replaced. I landed at the center of the lake, folding my wings around me. The storm faded, the world softened, and for the first time in my life, I felt the quiet joy of existing without performance. I do not know how long I stayed there. Time in that sky lake did not behave like time in the studio, but eventually, the music in my mind reached its final note, that delicate, trembling descent into silence. I opened my eyes. I was back in the studio, lying on the floor, breathless, tears drying on my cheeks. The storm had passed, the room was still, but something in me had changed forever. I rose slowly, gathered my bag, and walked to the door. I did not look back. The swan had already flown, and so had I.